Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar Espino. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. It is your host, Cesar Espino, and today I have a special guest. He is a renowned master mindset coach with 28 years of experience. He specializes in eliminating negative subconscious programming to empower individuals to achieve their goals without self-sabotage. He has impacted over 28,000 lives globally through his rapid mindset transformation (RMT) framework. His expertise extends to training 15,000 plus life coaches, teaching them to master their minds, break counterproductive habits, and cultivate positive thinking and patterns. His coaching has led to life-altering breakthroughs in various areas such as purpose living, conquering fear and failure, confident leadership, effective communication, and overcoming procrastination, nurturing fulfilling relationships, and making impossible possible. It is my pleasure to introduce you, Feroz. Hey, how are you, Feroz? How's it going?
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be in a conversation. Just one correction. I've coached about 1,500 coaches,
Okay.
not
Awesome.
15,000. But anyway,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure
Yep.
incorrect information doesn't.
No, that's good. Yeah, I put an extra zero there, and it would be nice when we get to where we can do 15,000 versus 1,500.
That's right. Well, maybe after this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. No, definitely. So, Feroz, let me ask you this. So, tell me a little bit about your background. Like, where are you original from, and how was your upbringing?
Yeah. So, like your story, I'm an immigrant.
Okay.
I'm born in India, a southern state called Kerala, and my parents still live there. My father is 88-year-old, and my mother is 75. My father is a clinical psychologist, and he still works
Wow, that's
at
amazing.
that age. Yeah,
I love that.
both of them are health-wise very good. Um, I had my professional degree in India, which is a veterinary surgeon. So that was my profession. And I worked there for a couple of years. And then I came to Ohio State University in Columbus, Ohio in 92, did my master's over there, and then worked for Children's Hospital for 4 years. And then I did a course where I actually said, what the heck am I doing with my life? And it literally gave me a new perspective to what is it I want, how can I accomplish that, and where do I go to the tools necessary to get that. And immediately after that course, within 1 week, I started an IT company, nothing to do with my background.
Your degree, right? Of course.
And I had that company for 14 years. And out of 45 employees, I sold that because I had an amazing opportunity to go work with one of the masters in transformation, a leading figure in London, United Kingdom. So I sold that, and I worked in London for 6 years. And once I finished that project, I came back to Columbus, and I just passed my 50, and I said, okay, what the heck am I going to do my second half of my life? And I decided I'm going to make a difference by coaching. And I have a coaching experience since 1994. I've been coaching, leading workshops on the side, apart from my business. So that was my side hustle.
Yeah.
trained other people. I found that I'm very good at.
That's good. You know, it's definitely interesting in knowing that you're definitely following your path, and I want to definitely talk about that in a little bit
Yeah,
before we get there, because I think a lot of people sometimes forget and they don't really go after their dreams and or find their passion. And on top of that, sometimes we have external factors which could be our culture, it could be our parents, it could be even different things that they see something different in us, except that's not what we want, right? So I definitely want to
yeah.
get into that a little bit. Before that though, tell me, like, obviously you're from India, you know, being an immigrant and all of that stuff. um Growing up, like, I'm always interested to know, like, what was that one thing you wanted to be, like, you know, growing up in India, and
Yeah.
from that, what
So,
was that for you?
so there's one pivotal thing that made a huge difference. So my dad was working he's a psychologist, and he was working as armed force medical college. So it's where the soldiers after the war they come injured. So the psychologist. So and then he decided to get a job abroad. Okay.
Hmm.
So that meant I was going to be in a boarding school.
Ah,
Okay. And down south with no idea about language, 9-year old, new language, and then my parents and my siblings. But the one thing that he did, the last day when he took me to the boarding school, he gave me a book. That was Stephen Covey's How to Make Friends and Influence People.
mm, yeah.
And I read that book and I read a chapter and I practice that on the people, my friends. I
Yeah,
read the next chapter. I practice that on the teachers. I read the next chapter and I found out, man, this stuff works.
yeah.
I was hooked about relationships and it just gave me a perspective. No matter how difficult it is, I can build relationship. How difficult the person is, how difficult my circumstances, I could create the right mindset to have a win-win situation. So that was very
Mhm.
pivotal, just reading as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old.
Wow, no, that's awesome. And so when you discovered that and definitely said, "Hey, I can do all these different things, and I have a way of positively influencing people, and, you know, making friends and creating all these different things," um, uh, walk me through that journey. Like, you know, obviously that was early on in your years, and then how did from there did you pick an interest of saying, "Hey, this is what I want to be able to do." You know, like, what did I want to do when I grow up? Right? That's always the question.
Yeah. So I I did not have a, I don't know about your culture,
Mhm.
but in India there's a culture called everyone should be a doctor or engineer,
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
right? And the parents dictate that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. I actually didn't have any particular job wise, position wise, but I do know I want to be interacting with people.
Mm.
But I didn't have a way to articulate that. But it turns out in all my schoolings, including my college degree in veterinary for 5.5 years, every single year I was selected either the class leader, the president of the school, the secretary. So every year I had a leadership position.
Mm.
It just naturally came to me. But thinking back, there was a lot of politics involved. But the one thing I do know, I was the only person who had friends on either side.
Ah.
And that made everyone vote for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it became, and I was addicted. So the more people I get to influence, it's a kind of a passion, and it built on and built on. So no matter what job I had, I always maintained to coach people, mentor people, lead transformational workshop. Uh, that was even if I need to do that on a volunteer basis, I did that.
Got you. Let's talk about influence. I think influence is a very powerful phrase, and that word has a lot of power, right? And,
Yeah,
you know, you hear about you know, a positive influence and negative influence, right? And there's obviously both directions.
yeah,
And you know, when you're saying, you know I want to be able to help people, I want to be able to impact, I want to be able to do that. Um, what did you find, or what did you find to be either most difficult to be able to influence people on a positive way, to be able to give them and or provide them a positive outlook of an outcome, right? Because a lot of times that's
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
is. People want that, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
what was it difficult for you to find? Because every, like you said, there's different cultures, different people, man, female, like so many different things, and
Yeah,
to be able
yeah,
to
yeah.
interact with each one of them. Yeah.
No, that's a great question, Caesar. So one of the things I went through a lot of times and years, things not working,
Mm,
not able to influence. Okay. And I see this, many coaches do this in the current era. Okay. Everyone has a good heart. They want to help people, they want to mentor and make a difference with people. And the hard way that I learned is that it's not the knowledge that I have. I can read book, I can attend seminars, I can get information, I can regurgitate, repeat all these amazing distinctions and models and everything. It doesn't mean anything if you have that. So what I was trying to do, Caesar, in the beginning is the way I thought helping, but it was counterproductive, is that I got the concerns, I got the commitments where they want, and I knew the goal is over here, and my job was to inspire them to move to their goal.
mm,
In that process, some of them succeeded, some of them did not. And then I actually, at one point, I got this aha moment. I said, "Oh, Feroz, that is worse. You're trying to push people, even though it is a good-hearted, but that's not the right model." So I began to cultivate my own rapid mindset transmission. All that means is that I have all the information, but I put that aside. And I want to find out how their brain works,
mm,
how the logic in their mind works. How does it, if they hear an information, they go through all this process and they come out with the answer. So I began to fall in love with humanity, like how the idiosyncratic ways of different ways people does analyze things. Once I got that, then I would show them by using that same model, what however the brain goes, you will not be able to achieve your goal. Would you be open to changing that?
mm,
Because then they knew I was not trying to make them wrong. They were completely perfect. There was the amazing human being born and guided by God, and they were all whole, complete, and perfect. Nothing wrong with them. Once they got that there is nothing wrong with them, then they were able to open to being changed to accomplish their goals. So that was for me, is to really coach people where they are, not where they should be. So that was a very important,
yeah.
hard lesson I learned.
Yeah, and you know what is actually, and that's there's so much validity to that. Where again, oftentimes, which is, there's nothing wrong. Except you got to be able to maneuver through that. Is that, where, the first thing is for anybody is we need to know, where are you now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And so a lot of people say, well, I want to have this much money, or I want to have
yeah,
this house and be in this relationship. Like, okay, fine, we know where you want to be, right? And
yeah,
that could be miles away or years away. Except we know where you want to be. And a lot of times what we are missing is that component you just talked about, is like, okay, well, you want to be over there, except instead of, not saying that, not, I'm not saying we're not going to focus on that, we're definitely going to put some
yeah,
focus,
yeah, yeah,
except how about we get a better understanding, where are you now? Because a lot of
yeah,
times people are in denial and they don't recognize where they're at this moment
yeah.
today, right?
No, very well said, Caesar. Very well said. One of the things that I help people is that first get comfortable with where they are. So they have the money that they have. They don't have the money they don't have. They have the relationship that they have. They don't have the relationship they don't have. When they can be with that situation, that environment, and then relate to themselves as, okay, and that's okay. And I can be with that, my own failures and wins, then there is the beginning of power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's huge, because we got to be able to see and understand, and acknowledge, this is the place that I'm in.
Yes,
Accept
yes,
that, And once we can accept that, then we can start taking better actions towards where we want to be and where we want to get.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that's
Okay.
huge. So obviously, let's talk about the idea of chasing your dreams, right? Or chasing the one thing you want. Because obviously, you said you were all over the place, and you finally having a degree on something, going to IT, and then kind of going all over the place, right? Except you
Yeah.
came back to what you were thinking, even from being a kid, is like, I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to impact
Yes.
people,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so, while maybe some of the other aspects, brought a little bit of that gratification, it wasn't 100% fulfilling. And so you had to go through all of these picks and values and finally came back to being a coach where you're helping that. So how critical is it for people to be able to find one, identify what is it, that one thing they want to do, and number two, go after and get it?
Yeah. Very good. I think many people go through that challenge. And the way that I communicate to people is that when you are looking at what is that makes you fulfilled, what is that makes you happy and content, don't think about careers in terms of positions. I want to be a manager. I want to be. If you can get away from the positions and titles and think about what is that I want to be doing, what is that I want to be, and what should I have in my life, and you think from that, then it will give you, no matter what position you are, you'll be able to increase that skill.
Mm,
So even if you're in a job that you don't like and you're clear, okay, my job is to empower people to overcome their life circumstances, as an example. So if you're in working in a McDonald's, then you're flipping the burger. Guess what? In that environment, have you noticed there is confusion and chaos and everything? And you can use that. Okay, I'm going to make the skill to have people overcome no matter what's going on around them. And you go to the different position, different journey. And career is a journey, but you're always thinking about one thing. You're developing your skills, and on the way you'll find people who will help you, and the other words, other people won't care about you, what you're doing. But no matter what, you're always trying to build that skill. So for me, if I look back now, I didn't articulate it that way. I was always developing my skills about being with people, talking to people, no matter how difficult their circumstance or my circumstances.
yeah, I love that. And definitely that's a really great point, to be able to develop skills along the journey. And now that I go back and I think of even me, when I used to work for corporate America, I was
Yeah,
always so worried about that title and chasing that, and thinking about it now, I did get lost in that
yeah.
moment, right? And so I think that not only did I get lost, I also believe that if we were to take the approach you just mentioned, where hey, just be have gratitude, and appreciate what you have and what you're doing, and look at it from that perspective, taking away the
Yeah,
titles and things like that. One, you're gonna be more content. Two, you're gonna do your
yes,
job a lot better. And number three,
yeah.
you're learning, right? As opposed to like, oh man, I gotta go back to work again, or I gotta deal with this or that. So that actually makes a good point. That's a really good point. I wish I knew that when I was trying to move up the corporate ladder so
Well, we all do, but look at that. I mean, it's amazing. I was reading your life journey. You
thank
know,
you.
you dealt with wherever you are, the circumstances, and you had this burning light that was guiding you, and you had something in you about to make something of yourself.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you did not give that up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pursue the thing, ongoingly pursuing it.
Yes. No, definitely. No, 100%. 100%. I have here, and I love this, and I want you to elaborate a bit more on this. The power of shifting your mindset from default mindset to new mindset and immediately experiencing miraculous results show up in your life. Tell me a little bit about the
Yeah.
default mindset and then the new mindset.
Okay, good. So, um, I read a lot of book on mindsets, and I'm not only talking about the books published, but also the research. Okay. And all of them communicate something and describe something, but not nearly people have immediate access to change,
Mm,
right? So I think something's really missing. So and so over the years, I've been working with people and perfecting that. Now it's in a place that it works.
yeah.
So I think most human beings want to better themselves, change themselves, right? So most human beings then goes to you attend a seminar, or there are people helping you, guiding you, learn something and everything, and they take actions, or they try to change their thoughts about how from negative to positive. But in my experience, all those things only makes a limited difference. I'm not saying it doesn't make a difference. Of course, it makes a difference, but only limited, but not like a breakthrough difference, like
Hmm.
life altering difference. And I wasn't, why is that? So, one of the things about the human being is that people are trying to make changes on top of an existing mindset.
Mm,
So that is what I call as a default mindset. Default means like if you turn on your Word document and it's a Roman numeral 10 font, it's always that default font,
yeah.
right?
Right.
So default, when you wake up in that mindset. You brush your teeth, you do your breakfast, go to job, exercise, entertainment, be with your friends. However, it is all inside of default mindset that you are not conscious of or aware of.
Mm,
But the moment you identify your default mindset, you get immediate choice. You have the freedom. Do I want to continue with that or create a new mindset? So when you want to create a new mindset, you must identify the underlying mindset that is there that you're not aware of. Okay. So just give a little bit meat to what I'm saying. So when you say mindset, for me, I'll tell you my so mindset considered like a big circle. Okay,
hmm.
like a circle. Imagine like a circle. And that's what we call a mindset. So there are three things you need to know about mindset. One is mind is set.
Mm.
Okay. Now, what is set? What is set is inside of a mindset, the thoughts you have is set. That means you only have a certain range of thoughts. So your thoughts are going to be the same as the one you had yesterday. 90% of them, and it will be the same 90% every day. It's not changing. It's the same range. And 80% of those thoughts, by the way, this is research done. It's not I'm making it up.
Repetitive.
80% negative,
Yeah.
right? So that's what is happening. So your thoughts are set, the range, the feelings and emotions are set. So feelings, emotions, more like thoughts going through your body. That's what that is. So it's set. And your body sensation, like uh, queasy in your stomach or the intuition, whatever people say, that is also set. So when we say mindset, there's a particular mindset, and inside that mindset, you have a same range of thoughts, feelings, emotions, body sensation. So that's the first thing about mindset. The second thing about mindset that human beings, so you, me, and 8 billion people on this planet,
Hmm.
we make decisions in life. We make choices in life, whether it is our career, money, relationship, everything based on a combination of these three things: thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and body sensation. That's how we make, as a human being, makes decisions and choice, and we act. So that's the second part of a mindset. The last part of the mindset is the only way we can produce result is through action. There is no other way you can produce result in this reality. Okay, who
Yeah.
knows other reality, right? And not taking action, like procrastination, is also an action. So if you look at that model, then you say, oh, if I change my thoughts, feelings, and emotions and be more resolute, more empowered, more disciplined, more organized, you can make changes, but it won't be a huge, gigantic breakthrough. But the moment you shift your mindset, that means recognizing a default and creating your mindset, guess what? With that mindset, you have a new range of thoughts. You have new range of feelings and emotions. You have a new range of body sensation. And now you take new action based on these three things, and new actions gives you new results.
Mm, yeah.
So that's the power. Now, when we do that, the last piece, and I'll stop talking.
No.
The last piece is when you do that shift, what happens, and you do practice, you have to learn how to retrain your brain, and it's not difficult. uh, if you choose to, I'll give you, there's a 2-page PDF, and you can give away free for people to
Hmm.
download. Okay, it's a simple practice. So what happens, you can train your brain to, when you have a default mindset, to loosen it over time, and you want to tighten the synaptic connections, neuronal connections in your brain for the new mindset. And it doesn't take that long, and it's scientifically proven by a Nobel laureate, that if you repeat something 60 to 70 times, 70 times, you create new neuronal synaptic connections in your brain. That
Mm,
means you're creating a new habit, and boom, your thoughts are now consistent with, aligned with your passion and purpose. There's nothing that will stop you.
yeah. That no, that's very interesting. And I guess, I like the idea of trying to understand what is the foundation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, foundation, that mentality, that mindset. Except, I'm sure you come across this where people say, "Well, I still cannot identify it because it's hard for me to be able to determine between reality and perception, or reality or the illusion of my mindset." Like, I don't know, my
That's
mind
right.
can be playing tricks, right? Like, I don't know if this is real, or is it, an illusion, or something that is not, is a perception, right, where I want to be. So
Yes.
how do people, because I'm sure people come across and say, "Well, I'm doing it, I'm attempting, and at the same time, I don't know. Am I already there, or am I still living this reality, this illusion, or fantasy, or you know? And how do they step
Yeah.
into that, and how do they identify that?
Well, I'll tell you the way that I identify.
Yeah, yeah.
So I walk through people, and it just takes about 20 minutes, literally.
Hmm.
Doesn't take more than that. I walk through people. So just a step backwards. I believe that when we look at our mirror, we see an image, right? And usually we carry in that head, like when we're going into a room, we walk into a room, we're going into a hall, we getting on the phone, like this image is talking. And I believe it's not just physical image. There's a lot of things going on in our background that you and I cannot see. Things that we are worrying about from the past, including ancestral conversation, our cultural conversation that we inherited, we were born into, that we are not aware of. All of those influences, and I call that as a noise, okay? Not like that's bad, just noise. And we have to wade through all of that to actually produce a noise. So my job is, when you identify a default mindset, your noise level goes down. And see, so there's amazing things happen. When your noise level goes down, you actually don't go out to produce result. Results come to you. You become a result magnet.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 15-20 minutes exercise, what I do is I just give them a test. I ask them to close your eyes. I ask them to, of course, do 5 inhale, exhale, and there's a reason behind it. There's a real science behind that. And then I ask them, just observe your thoughts. What's going on right now? What's the feelings and emotions? What's the body sensation? So they calm down. And then I give them a scenario like, can you just recall something that happened 1 year back where you experienced, based on where they are? Okay, I have a sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ask the same question to everyone. It's individual different. So example would be where you made a mistake and someone got upset with you, and they will say what happened, what did they say, how was your thoughts, feelings, and emotion at that time. Then I go back about 20 years back, within the last 20 years, and I'll give you another scenario. And then I'll tell them, what is the earliest memory that you have where you felt this way?
Mm-hmm.
almost everyone gets to that point where they actually made a unconscious decision, unconscious meaning, and that is how a default mindset is created. So for
Got
my own life, 5-year-old, no, 5.5-year-old, I was very excited to go to the kindergarten. The day before, I went with my parents, got my blue lunchbox and erasers and a purple backpack. On the day of the first day, I was holding both of their hands, walked into this white picket fence, opened the gate, colorful building. And as soon as I entered, Caesar, on the right side of the hall, all kinds of playing toys, slides, and everything. I just ran and started playing.
it.
At one point, I turned around to see my parents, and they were not there. I said, oh.
Mm.
Immediately, there was a traumatic experience for that 5-year-old.
You're
And
right.
it was immediately, I'm left alone.
Abandonment.
Yeah, abandonment. Okay. So that I'm left alone became the filter through which then I perceived rest of my life. Unconscious, not knowing it. But the moment I distinguished that, oh, it was such a freedom. I don't have to be helpful for everyone.
Yeah.
I can say no.
Mhm.
I don't have to be friendly because the
Yep.
brain is trying to compensate for that. And then I said, what is that I want? I said, this is the future mindset I want. I want to be loving and help people overcome the barriers of life.
I love that.
And so
Yeah.
so a mindset, default mindset is created by an unconscious meaning that we
Mm.
assign.
Yeah.
So you're
And
meant, yeah.
yeah, and one of the things, and you alluded to that, is again, unless very similar to, it doesn't matter at which age it happens. So when the things that happen between ages 0 and 7, those are probably the most critical one. And at the same time,
Yeah.
whatever happens in life, unless, as you kind of alluded to it, unless you work on that and recognize that
Yes.
unconsciously, that's gonna follow you all the way through your life. You know, there are things that could happen when you're a kid, and then you're doing these behaviors or having these different things happen in your life, and you don't understand logically or consciously,
Yeah.
you don't understand why, except because on an unconscious level is something that is pretty much you're carrying from the beginning, and because you haven't worked on that and you haven't done anything, any kind of internal work to work on
Yeah.
those things, they're gonna follow you all the way to the end. And I've seen that myself, and with myself, and then also I've seen it with other people. And so once you can tap into that, and I love that, the idea, and
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by the idea of the mindset and all that stuff. Once you tap into that and you understand that, then again you
Yeah.
can definitely get out of that and then create something, a new neural pathway to create something better.
Absolutely. And that's what I love. It doesn't matter where you're born, what language, what
Yep,
kind of circumstances you have, rich, poor, healthy, not healthy, doesn't matter. Human minds have this capacity to transform and change. And that is the amazing miracle.
I love that. I love that. Wow, this is huge. So, Feroz, where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Very good question. So they can definitely find me. I think there's no other Feroz Eledath in the Facebook. But also there's no Feroz Eledath, FerozEledath on my LinkedIn. And then if you click on ferozeledath.com, it takes to some of my information.
Got you.
Was I'm in any Instagram. I'm at my handle is at dr_coach. So doctor and coach, like
Gotcha. Okay. No, I love it. I love it.
that's it.
And then I would assume that, do you work with any particular people? Is it men, women all over the world, or do you have a particular criteria of who you work with?
Well, I work with everyone, but I worked with college students. I worked with school, but what I've noticed, what I attract, and I have no idea. I attract men and women 45 or above, where they are beginning to realize what the heck is my life about? And 70% of my clients are women, and where they are is either an empty nester,
Mhm.
or they are thinking about a transition in their life, whether it is from divorce to new relationship or job transition, different kinds of transition. And they're looking at what how to create a meaningful life, a next chapter of my life. And for them, shifting their mindset is an amazing tool to
Yeah.
fulfill who they are in life.
No, that's awesome. No, I love that. I love that. Obviously, you worked a lot on your mindset. You've read a lot of books. You've studied a lot, and so I believe that we all should have daily habits. What are your
Yes.
daily habits? What are the things that you do on a day-to-day basis to keep you up and going?
Okay. So I have an habit called I only do what's in my calendar. I don't do anything that is not in my calendar. Now,
Okay.
once in a while that happens, okay? But I religiously, if I want to accomplish something, I better take my time, put it in my calendar, knowing how long will it take, and block that area. So if I say to my daughter, I'm going to I'm going to cook dinner for her. By the way, Sundays, I have three kids,
Yeah.
26, 20, and 20. So they have to come to my house. I cook Indian dinner for them. Okay.
Nice.
That's how I found what's going on in their life. But don't.
That's also, by the way, that is also a golden ticket and a golden nugget for parents over there. If you want to find out what's going on with your kids,
That's right.
invite them over.
Give them food.
Yeah, that's
so
nice.
so and the reason I'll tell you the way that for me how I create my life, it may be a little bit conceptual for some of the listeners. That's okay. My speaking is my word, and how I create life is through my speaking. So I have given power to my speaking, that I create my life through my words. So how I create my life is through my speaking, and speaking is my word. So whatever I enter in my calendar is my word. It's not a to-do list. And I will keep it and I will honor it. And so whatever I put in my calendar, I know that will get done. And whatever I don't put in my calendar, it's on me. It's
Yeah,
not going to get done. So
yeah.
that is an habit that has made my productivity go through the roof. I no longer have excuses for people why I didn't do certain things. I no longer blame someone or blame myself. So it reduces a lot of noise in my life. So that is one thing, one habit that I made a huge difference.
No, I love that. I think that's a really good habit, and definitely, I mean, whatever people choose to do or whatever kind of habits, people got to create habits, right? I do believe that we have to have daily habits and whatever that might be. And you're very similar to you mentioned that I actually also, if I'm gonna go out with my daughter or do anything with my friends, I put it on my calendar, and I always say, if you're inviting me, if we're gonna have a gathering or we're gonna go watch a movie, whatever that might be,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
if I block it on my calendar, that means it's happening. Otherwise, good luck.
That that's
I do
that's
the same thing.
exactly that's exactly right. And that includes, I think most people don't do this, Caesar. I also include my relaxation time in my calendar.
Okay.
So if I want to chill out and do nothing and watch a Netflix or go watch the entire season, I put that in my calendar and I don't have any iota of guilt because
Mm.
it's in my calendar and it's my word. That's what I said I will do, and I do it.
I love that. That I haven't done that, and I do believe that because you also have to reward yourself, and then that's actually a good way to say, hey, I owe it
Absolutely.
to myself. So no, that's good. Well, my last question for you is: you've
Yes.
already given us a lot of great feedback. For the people that are watching us and are listening to us, if you can give us one or two of your opinions, if they're going through a challenge right now, whatever challenge that might be, what is one thing or two things they can do to start overcoming that challenge?
Okay, very good. So two things. Okay, I'll make it much. So one thing is, no matter how difficult the challenge is, because the brain is going to say this is the end of the world. I have no idea how I'm going to get out of this hole. I can't bear it. I am grieving, whatever it is, that will pass. So you have to have build a huge capacity of self-compassion. No one is going to give you that level of compassion. So, one, find a way to be okay and provide yourself self-compassion. Stop beating yourself.
Mm.
Because most people, we are the worst inner critic than any other critic outside.
Yeah.
By the way, the inner critic is the voice of the default mindset. Anyway, that's a side.
Mm.
It's the
Okay.
voice of the default mindset. That's what happens when the moment you identify your default mindset, the inner critic disappears. So that's why self-compassion. Okay, we have only this life, at least in this reality.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind to yourself. Okay. The second thing is, you know, however you reach that difficult place or however you're dealing with a challenge, it's because of the actions you took.
Mm.
And if you can find somehow to be accountable for it, that there are actions that you could have taken that would have given a different result, but for some reason you just took this action and you reached here. So then now you know you have to take a different set of actions. And the easiest way to do a different set of actions, do not consult the same brain that made you do those actions. You cannot self-consult on this one. This is where a mentor, a great friend who will not judge you, or a coach comes in handy, because they will help you guide through a different set of action. So you're not repeating the same thing again. So self-compassion and be accountable for the actions that led to over here, and find someone you can trust to create new set of actions.
Boom. There you have it. I love that. That's actually amazing. And I didn't think of that. And that's right. I mean, if you're, yeah, why are you going to consult the same mind that got you in that
Exactly.
role to begin with? So no, that's huge. Well, Feroz, thank you again. This is amazing. I really enjoyed this conversation with you. So thank you for being here on the show and sharing your wisdom with us.
Okay, we're good. Caesar, keep doing what you're doing, man. You are a huge light in this world. And I believe we need guides, we need mentors, we need coaches, amazing people like you to guide the human race for the next 50 to 100 years. So you're in the
Love it.
right place. And I will send you that 2-minute training
Yeah.
to retrain your brain as an email. And if you can choose to do whatever you want
Yeah.
to.
I love that. Definitely. Thank you so much for that. And for the rest of you guys, do me a favor. Please make sure you share this message because definitely somebody needs to hear it. And I will see you guys at the next episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you've tuned into this podcast. You can find me at your favorite podcast platform where you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. And to learn more about myself, my services, you can find me at www.cesarrespino.com, or you can also find me at your social media. Thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to having you at the next episode. And know you truly can overcome anything.